Well, it is 2030 in building Michigan State. Schedule's already set. We're going to set up our recruiting board here. And hopefully we can find some gems. We've done a good job of that. We've recruited the gems well. #1 Michigan State, by the way. I still can't believe that after what we had happen in the playoffs last year. But for whatever reason, preseason polls seem to favor Michigan State. I've never had this happen before. All right, so this was the power back. So I guess if we were going to lose anybody, I'm glad it's him. Mike Lawrence remains on the board. We're going to have to do some work here on these. So the quarterbacks. We wanted Jason Ahmed over really anybody else. So right now, I feel like the mission should be to at least send the house on all the gems. I mean, maybe we don't even have to do that. I guess we're going to find out. Kamani Vildor, the receiver. Lipscomb was also a gem. I mean, this is probably going to make us lose out on a good chunk of some of the other players, but I think it's about the best strategy that we've got. And maybe, I don't even know if we can get them all, to be honest. I mean, sending the house on every single one of them would be... I don't think that's possible, because we just have so many gems on this board. So I guess let's just focus on these positions of need first off. Maybe kind of skimp on some of them, just to try and save something. Tant was the guard. We do need some good guards here on this team. We didn't even truly need the center. He wasn't a gem anyway. So truth be told, we don't even really need Grant Pickering on the board, although we are leading though. So you know what? He can stay. We lead early on Emerson. Like to get that done and settled early on. Timmy Smith, the defensive tackle. Defensive tackle's been a position that we have really struggled to recruit at. Linebacker. There's where we'll save a little bit more. Gillen. 50. Yeah, I don't know. We've got so many gems on this board that I'm really worried that we're going to come away with not as many as we're hoping for. I think we stick with that for now. And in fact, we didn't even offer scholarships here to the guys at the bottom. So we're going to do that now. And I think we save those points realistically because I want to be able to have a little bit of flexibility to focus on the players that are going to need a little bit of help. So for the moment, I mean, I guess we could use them and then take them off. We know corner is such a big need for us. And then we'll also give what we have left to Jalen Isaacs and just see how this is going to go. All right, early lead on the quarterback, Jason Ahmed. We do lead on Slater, too, but we didn't really do anything. Leading on Kruger. Big lead on Vildor. Same with Lipscomb. Behind Duke when it comes to Ty Simonson. So even though there's probably plenty of other players farther down the board that could use this maybe a little bit more, we want the tight end at the moment, and he's just the first one I found. So he'll get the extra points this week, see if we can't get past Duke. #1 team in the country cannot lose to Central Michigan in week 1. I'm really just starting to wonder if this sim engine isn't literally a coin flip. Oh, well, not really much of a consolation given this was against FCS West. Kirk Kloffenstein, junior outside linebacker, defensive player of the week in the Big Ten. I don't know. 37-16 win over FCS West is certainly not confidence building Now, somehow, oddly enough, we are fine. We're still a top 10 team. I really don't get how. But, I mean, now we've got Pitt. And, I mean, just who the fuck knows? I mean, you just lost to CMU. I mean, what is CMU here in 2030? I guess we should look at. All right, now Pitt. I'm a little bit worried. We should check on recruiting, though, before we do get in there. Slater, despite not doing anything with him, we do lead, which is really shocking. And yet we haven't really been locked out by anybody. I mean, Nick McGill down here, but I mean, he was just the in-case corner anyway. And I mean, right now, looking very good. We're going to have to do something on the punter eventually. Now, granted, we can just find another punter, but I don't know if it's going to be a gem of a punter in Nick Burr. We'll just probably have to wait for a recruit and hope that he kind of holds out. He doesn't have any offers right now anyway, so I'm not super worried about it. That's a close result there, but Michigan State is 2-1, back up to number 6 in the country. I don't know, man. Maybe Michigan State, Central Michigan is a playoff matchup this year. Who the fuck knows? But bye week now. Hoping to get a little bit closer on some of our recruits. Anything of note happening on the board? Oh my God. All right, so some action is going to be needed here. How many points can we spend on Ahmed? 80. Oh, holy shit. We better take care of this now, because the more we get players quickly, the better off we are going to be. So, ooh, I was going to take points away here from Simonson. That's really not going to be a very good thing for us to do. We're going to take points away. And in fact, just... we're not going to make his top 3 anyway, so we'll save those 25 there. Who else did we give 25? We're leading, actually, on John Hyde. We've got a big lead on Anthony Gillen. This was, I don't know, a defensive lineman of some sort. We're going to take those off right now. Save us some points so we can get some commits this week, and then they're going to get those points back. So Slater... I mean, once we get Ahmed here, I really won't be too worried about it. But we're going to max him out. Michigan doesn't even have a visit scheduled, so I really do think we're going to get him. Who else? Kamani Vildor. I certainly wish that we would be able to spend that... well, maybe we can. Let's take a look at this. Maybe we can spend the full 70. Can we soft sell him? Yes, we can. There's an A... an A+, and a B in there. In his interest. So that shapes up very well for us. We are, though, in a tight battle with Notre Dame. And I don't know what week we're in, so this could not go our way very easily. Anyone else looking at committing? Simonson, actually, but there's not really much more we can do. Tennessee and Duke are in the running here. Jay Harding. Gem at left tackle. He will get 15 more. And then we'll just sprinkle 10 points on one of these gems down here at the bottom of the board that we never really got to. Like Keegan Simonson. Well, I guess we did get to him. He can have those 10. And hopefully we get some commits and we're able to spread this wealth out a little bit. There we go. So actually, I don't know where these have been the entire time, really, in building Michigan State, but we finally get the commitment pop-ups again. So Jason Ahmed, this one is not expected, but not unexpected, but we do beat out Michigan for a 4-star quarterback. That's good. Interesting to see that they were interested in him, but I guess he is in state. That's good. We get Jay Harding, the left tackle. Was he the one that was looking at Notre Dame? I don't remember. All right, well, on the bright side, there are a slew of points, or a slew of hours that we now have. We got locked out on Isaacs. So now we're down here at the bottom. We will give 50 hours to Garrison Paul, who we led on anyway. We didn't take points away from any gems, I don't believe. We're still left with 24 targets on our board here, and I think most of them are pretty well off in terms of hours. But we'll give Simonson that 50 back. Actually, I don't even know if he ever had 50. I'm going to skip Gillikin for now. Make sure there's no other gems that don't have any hours on them. And there are not. Alright, so that's good. So, let's get through as many of these guys as we can. We have cracked the top 8, actually, on Nick Burr without even really doing anything. So, right now I'm going to leave that alone. Especially because we're 3rd. Like, that feels really good. Anthony Gillen. Certainly looking at us without even doing much of anything with him. Tuttle, that's a tight battle. He'll get 50. We have 60 left. And let's see who's going to need this most. Wide receiver and Carney. I really think that's probably the smartest decision. We do have Lipscomb as well. We have a big lead over Alabama for the time being. But if we miss out on him, but we also miss out on Carney, things are going to get real bad. So we'll do that. And then let's just remind Caleb Slater that we're thinking about him. Because look who's in second right here. That is Michigan, who we just beat out for the other quarterback. So if we can take away 2 of Michigan's quarterback targets, that's a big win for us. All right, no Purdue here. Now, the offense, which should really be the strength of this team, is certainly not putting up the points that I would have thought that they would. I mean, our highest point total was 37, but that was against FCS West. But the defense, however, had their best game of the season, only allowing 3 points to Purdue. Now we've got our second bye week before we really hit the bulk of Big Ten play. And look at Michigan, actually, undefeated, #1 in the country. All right, so back in. Looking good there on Kruger, our elusive back target. Carney is still really early. Ty Simonson went to Tennessee. Interesting. We got Jay Harding that last stint. Amerson kind of goes to Michigan out of nowhere. Maybe I just didn't pay close enough attention. I have no idea. Really close here on Timmy Smith, which means we need to send everything that we've got on him because Illinois is coming on strong. I think we're only in week 6, so hopefully that isn't going to matter too much. Where else are we looking at commits? Gillen. Spend 75 on him. We'll do that. Simonson. We're actually trailing here on Keegan Simonson at middle linebacker. Really should have spaced this out a little bit differently. Now, those visits are a long ways away, so... And, I mean, the difference between us in Washington and Utah here is not that much. So, there is certainly a chance that we can come back. So, we'll put our eggs into that basket. Adongo here at corner. This is probably not going to go our way, only being able to spend 65. D-Stick, we lead, but we got to make sure that we lead considerably. The safety in Garrison Paul. Alright, so now let's head down. Let's see where we are with Nick Burr. Jumped into second. Liberty leads that. Caleb Slater. Do still lead, but that's such a minuscule part of our recruiting here that we really shouldn't be committing any sort of hours to it. Joshua Kruger. He can have 15 more, I suppose. Carney will skip. Lipscomb. He can get 15 more. And then we'll have 10 hours left over. Is there anyone else looking at committing right now? Trimble. Jalen Trimble at tight end. We'll give him 60 out of the 70 we can spend on him and hope for the best on that. All right, not one of the gems, but 4-star middle linebacker Anthony Gillen out of Detroit, Michigan has committed. Good stuff. More 4-stars being added to the class. So that was a rough week on the recruiting trail, for sure. Let's head down here. We got locked out on Donnell Pride. Timmy Smith, the defensive tackle, went to Illinois even before the visit happened. And then the middle linebacker in Simonson goes to Washington. But we did just get... I can't remember if Gillen was an inside or outside linebacker. But we at least got one linebacker here in this class so far. Adongo goes to Michigan. Stick, this is gonna be real tight. We did survive that visit with Penn State though, so right now that's looking, I think, pretty good. We have got a slew of hours to spend here. So what we are going to do is just go max everybody out that we can. That we haven't done so yet. So, Kavon Carney. Lipscomb was a receiver as well. There's just not a lot of competition here. Alabama's the only other one with an offer in on him. And Georgia's here too, but they're just so far behind. I just don't see them coming back on him. Trimble, this is really close. We could afford to spend those 5 hours extra on him. Should get a commit because those visits with Kentucky and Indiana are not for quite some time. Still time to turn this around here on Marquise McNabb, and we are going to try and do so. We're not that far behind Louisville, and if we could lock Wisconsin out of the top 3, that would be really great. Harding already committed. We don't have anything going here on Paul, and yet we still lead this battle. Let's just try and spend 50 on him and see where that takes us. Pickering was the center. The center we don't necessarily need, but at least get something in on him. And then let's take a look at what else everybody needs. Ooh. Tight one here with right guard Joel Tant. Definitely give him the extra 15. How's this looking? Oh, we're totally losing him to Michigan. Unless we're past week 7 and I just don't realize, there's just no chance in hell. I can't compete with that. Unfortunately. We are behind on Pickering, so you know what? He can get the extra 15. Get him up to 65. Tuttle, we lead, but would certainly like that to be a little bit more comfortable. Grow as big of a lead on these guys as you can to avoid any potential visit nonsense. And then John Hyde here. Wow, we really should have done this a little bit differently. You know what? I'm going to take points away from Garrison Paul right here. And then head back up here to Hyde. Now, we can put some of those points back on Paul. But this is tight. And Kentucky's coming, and now they got a visit scheduled. So, if we can get a commit this week, that would be absolutely massive. So, still 15 points to work with when it comes to Garrison Paul. So, we're not going to completely abandon him this week. Definitely not what we want to do. Do that. Get out of here. Well, once again, a little bit tighter than you would have liked. We only win by 12 points over Maryland, who's now 2-3. And I'm just looking at this. We got a big game at number 4 Illinois. 5-0. Number 4 Illinois coming up in our next game. This is a big one. Not only for the Big Ten, obviously, but for playoff positioning. I mean, once you get to 2 losses, you're kind of skating on thin ice. So we'll see how this one goes. The fact that we're number 1 would have led me to believe there were no undefeated teams left, but yet here's Illinois. So we didn't get any commitment pop-ups. I don't remember if Kruger had already committed or not. We did get the tight end in Trimble. That's good. Ooh, things have gone awry on Marquise McNabb. Joel Tant goes to Michigan. There was that visit. I knew we were in a boatload of trouble there on that. We're down to 17 targets on the board, so, I mean, we're getting kind of later into the season, so we don't want to miss out on any stray 4-stars. Stephen Winey, the 4-star gem of an outside linebacker, did commit. This is really tight here with John Hyde, and I do believe we are now in week 8, so this is gonna be really scary. We already got Gillen. D-Stick is so close, but this could really go either way. Would love to beat out Michigan for that. And now we'll head back in on Garrison Paul. Max him out the best we can. And then head back into the prospect list and add in some more players. I guess we could start to really try and pull away here when it comes to Nick Burr, our punter. I can't believe I'm spending 75 hours a week recruiting a punter, but here we are. Watch him be like, normal development. So we don't want to add too many players to the board right now. We're looking for players that we haven't scouted yet. So a defensive end here like Keyshawn Cansey. That's a receiving back. I want no part of that. 3-star defensive tackle. We're not at that point yet. 4-star left tackle Josh Apple. Sure, let's go with those guys. Not going to be able to really send a lot at them here this week. So let's start out with 25. I'm going to balance this out the best that I can. So get 35. And then I'm going to see if anybody else can even take 5 hours. Or if they even need it. A guy like Caleb Slater. Because we are still in that battle with Michigan for him. 2 4-star quarterbacks in the same class would be a big win for us. And that visit with Michigan in Week 12 is a little scary because he's not even really close to naming his top 3 yet. Oh, defensive battle in that top 5 matchup. But number 1 Michigan State comes through. 13-9 win at Illinois. Now we take on Ohio State, sitting at 4-2. That's a home game for us. But at the end of the day, even though they're unranked, it's still Ohio State. We got a tough stretch here. I mean, you got the ranked Illinois team, Ohio State, who's just Ohio State, 18th ranked Oregon, before we play the battle for Paul Bunyan with number 5 Michigan. Check in on recruiting. Ooh, Michigan is coming on really strong when it comes to Caleb Slater. Let's see how that one goes. Not looking very pretty here on Kevon Carney. We got to try some bit of a Hail Mary because we're close enough to make something happen. So back that off, and we're going to try and sway him. We got a couple of A's in there, so it's not impossible. Or soft sell him, rather. It's really one last chance we get. And, I mean, right now, I think we're looking at, outside of maybe Lipscomb, who has committed to us, we're looking at only bringing in 1 receiver, which is not what we want to do. So, we'll do what we can here on Carney. Might even add another receiver or 2 to the board here this week. Marquise McNabb. I think we should be doing more soft selling instead of doing this 10 and 5 stuff. Especially with the grades that we have now. I think that's just the best course of action. So let's see. Gotta be something. Gotta be something that matches those interests. Gotta be... There it is. The last one I checked. Marquise McNabb will get that. Antonio Paul. Actually, don't even have to take anything off here to do that. We do have, once again, 2 A's and a B here on these grades. Oh, there it was. Let's get that in there. Pickering, close again. That's really going to be our strategy, I think, at this point. Let's see. Don't need to do anything else. Now, this one is a little scary because there is a C grade in there, but 2 A pluses. Hopefully, that makes a difference. John Hyde off the board. Gillen, Stick, and Paul have committed. Burr's maxed out. But how are we doing on Burr? Liberty and Tennessee with offers. That's fine for the moment. Chansey. We're still so far away on Chansey, but we can do considerably more here this week. So let's do everything we can. We got locked out on Apple immediately. So still a whole slew of hours to spend. So let's do it. Although we can actually do more here when it comes to Caleb Slater. I just really don't want this guy to go to Michigan. It's the stupidest thing. There we go. So is everybody up here receiving the max amount of points that they can? Yes. So now into the prospect list. So first order of business, receivers. Ohio State beats us by 3. That is our first Big Ten loss. Oregon lost as well. So they drop out of the top 25, but I don't know. I can't get a feel for how good or bad this team is. I mean, that's a home game against Ohio State, who, once again, for whatever reason, was just unranked. I don't know. See how it goes. Not looking very good right now for the Big Ten title game, sitting 5th in the conference with a tough stretch coming up. I mean, Oregon's only lost 1 game. Michigan's lost 2. I'm sorry I miscounted by 1. My apologies. Then we head into Iowa, Indiana, and Rutgers. I don't know what else there is to do here with Caleb Slater. He really wants to go to Michigan, apparently. Proximity to home's the deal breaker. Playing time, in theory, would go down if he saw that we did recruit that other quarterback, but it is what it is. Kevon Carney goes to Ohio State. Why wouldn't he? They just beat us last week, so away he goes off the board. We did at least get Lipscomb, but we really better hope that we get some other players here. We're still trailing Louisville on McNabb. Now trailing Michigan on Antonio Paul. Slightly leading here on Grant Pickering, but that could certainly change with some, in theory, very weak competition there for us. Big lead now on Burr. Kashawn Chansey is just, funnily enough, no chance really at all. He's going to go to Nebraska. So 100 hours here. Best way to do this is, I guess, just going to be to... I guess give them 15. I mean, that whole strategy of maxing out their hours and soft selling them all, that didn't really look like it did us much of anything. I don't think we were trailing on all those guys heading into that week, and yet here we are. That was brutal. But championship contender goes down and shit goes wrong. So 25 more hours to spend on Kofi Butt. That'll be recruiting. Well, it's just another story of one of the best teams, the best team we've ever had. 90 overall team, 91 overall offense, and we are 7th in the Big Ten. Losses to Ohio State and Oregon. Cool. Now we take on Michigan, and Michigan could really give us a death blow. I mean, they honestly could. I mean, we're already probably out of conversation for the Big Ten championship. We could still make the playoffs, but it's just going to be in the committee's fate at that point. But you lose to Michigan, you get 4 losses, you're done. So this is the biggest battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy that we've had here in building Michigan State. McNabb to Louisville. Paul to Michigan. Yeah, we really didn't do very well here. Pickering, I don't know how he didn't commit. I mean, the space in between the end of that bar is just so little. Like, come on, game. You've kicked me in the nuts over and over again tonight. Give me a bone. Jesus Christ. Nick Burr is inside his top 3. Sayaki Finger has interest from Washington. We're leading on all of these guys except Kofi Butt. So, I don't know. Back to our old strategy, I guess, because that new one didn't work. Well, just like that, we go from number 1. We were the number 1 team in the country when we faced Ohio State. We lose by 2. We lose by 2 to Oregon, and then get blasted by Michigan. All of a sudden, we are 5-4 and fighting for bowl eligibility. And Caleb Slater goes to Michigan. Why wouldn't he? Once again. Oh, yeah. So, really, it's all these guys down here at the bottom now. Didn't get a lot of ground on the punter, Nick Burr. Sayaki Finger, there's just not really a lot happening here. We do now lead on everyone that's left on our board, but... Well, we're at least going to a bowl game, I guess. Got that going. 34-27 win over Iowa. Indiana and Rutgers remain. They are both under 500. But with our strength of schedule here the rest of the way, Iowa wasn't good. Indiana and Rutgers aren't either. There's just, I don't even know if there's a way back to the top 25, let alone playoff contention. Check on all these guys down here at the bottom. We still lead on all of them. Really close to a commit from Bale. And we did get the punter, Nick Burr. Seriously. Seriously. In what world, in the sim engine, should a team like this be fighting for a 500 record? Like, what are we doing? And this is an Indiana team that since we started this dynasty, we have owned. They beat us by 5. That's bad math again. They beat us by 6. One of our largest losses of the season outside of the Michigan game. Unreal. We have to win against Rutgers to go 7-5. We're 500 in the Big Ten. Throwing away the Lions game was going to be a nice, easy thing because we had a great team. The sim has said no. And all of a sudden, this safety doesn't want to talk to us anymore because championship contender. Cool. Go be somewhere else then, I guess. We got pro potential deal breakers on a lot of these guys. Coach prestige there on Finger. Brand exposure on Kofi Butt. Priorities, man. But at least we did get Sean Bale. I mean, that's a big one because receivers recruiting here in this class just didn't go our way really at all. I'm sorry. A 90 overall team should not in any way possible in the sim be able to go 6-6. It shouldn't be possible. That is ridiculous. We've had a great team the last 4 years. And I mean, for a 91 overall offense, the highest offense I've had in any dynasty in this game so far, our highest point total came against a Maryland team that somehow finished better than us. But tied with that is our game against FCS Midwest. That should not happen. What's the point? Why chase overalls? What's the point of overalls if it doesn't mean how good your team is? Like, why even recruit? What's the point? You can recruit no matter whoever you want. You can recruit any players you want, and you are not gonna win. How did we do this with CMU? Because it don't work here. Devon Kuma wins the Heisman, sophomore receiver out of Oklahoma. I mean, the yardage is not all that impressive, but 20 touchdowns, good for him, I guess. And our bowl game fate, oh, for fuck's sake. We face the Wyoming Cowboys in the Starco Brands LA Bowl hosted by Gronk. In what used to be the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.